Hey everybody, GC13 here. What was Shadow Weaver thinking? I find myself wondering that a lot. In the very first episode of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, we learn that Adora has been selected to lead a squad in the attack on Thaymor. In the second episode, however, we learn that Thaymor isn't the fortress Adora was told it was. It's a peaceful village. Now, most of the Horde doesn't seem concerned about attacking Thaymor. They just need to be told they did a bad thing, and they're happy to go do bad things right back. Adora's much more of a goody two-shoes than that, though, and I don't think anyone can see her going to Thaymor with her team and saying anything other than, "Whoops, we must be in the wrong place," and trying to get the other force captains to back off, much like she ended up doing. While we have seen a world where Adora happily took part in the attack, thanks to the reality-disrupting portal that Catra opened, I don't think that we can use that as evidence that everything would have been fine. We don't see the attack itself, but we do know how different this reality is. First of all, Adora was sent with her original squad, not the new squad Shadow Weaver initially insisted on. Second, and much more telling, watch how lovingly Shadow Weaver interacts with Catra.
Look at you. You're a mess. Go get yourself cleaned up.
That's definitely not normal. The portal was basing its reality off of someone's subconscious desires, not off of what would have really happened. So, if we have to disregard the portal reality, what was Shadow Weaver thinking? How could she think that someone like Adora could ever hold a position of authority in the Horde without eventually deciding that the Horde was evil and that she needed to defect? Well, let's break this down. First off, we should note that Shadow Weaver is really good at manipulating people. Adora and Catra in particular are practically putty in her hands. In fact, once they decide to break free from her, the only real defense they have is to just disregard everything she says. When they have no choice but to listen to her, though, she can get them to do the most unlikely things. At Shadow Weaver's urging, Adora took the failsafe for the heart of Etheria, knowing full well it could easily kill her, and Catra felt so bad about it that she ran away rather than stay where she might have to see Adora get hurt, or interfere with Shadow Weaver's plan. Of course, Shadow Weaver raised Adora and Catra. She shaped a lot of how they see the world, and knows exactly what makes them tick. It would be far more impressive for her to pull the same tricks with someone totally new, and as Adora and Catra turn away from her, Glimmer steps right into that role. Despite what she did to Glimmer after Catra captured her, Shadow Weaver finds the young princess, and later queen, coming to her for help often. Shadow Weaver is even able to give Glimmer quite the edge, risking Adora's safety for a chance at taking out Catra. If it hadn't been for her not sensing what a sensitive topic that Glimmer's mother was for her, she might have had a long career as a royal advisor. As it turned out though, as good as you are at manipulating someone, if you haven't been in their head since they were born, there are always pitfalls you might have to learn the hard way. But since it's Adora we're worried about today, Shadow Weaver has that covered. Whatever she chooses to tell Adora, she'll be able to say it so that Adora will listen. The only defense Adora would have against Shadow Weaver's manipulations would be someone she trusted who was brave enough to tell her that her mother figure was lying to her, and Shadow Weaver would have completely isolated Adora before sending her to Thaymor. While we know that Lonnie and Rogelio are capable soldiers, and the Kyle can successfully not die, they weren't going to be sent into the field with Adora. Catra, despite everyone knowing how skilled she is, was also going to be kept far away from combat. With no one else there who Adora could confide in, the attack on Thaymor would be pretty easy for Shadow Weaver to explain away. Maybe she would tell Adora that the dastardly rebels tricked them into attacking Thaymor, for instance, to make the Horde look bad, or because they wanted to destroy it themselves. Nobody will know Adora well enough to give her the "no duh, we're the bad guys" speech like Catra ended up doing in the show, so Shadow Weaver's chosen narrative will be the only one Adora has. So, Shadow Weaver has Adora handled for the near and medium terms. Surely she can't keep the truth from Adora forever, though, can she? Eventually Adora will have to realize that the rebels are never as evil as she was told they are. Right? Well, that's another perk of keeping Adora totally isolated from anyone she has a mutual trust with. Shadow Weaver is perfectly capable of magically erasing Adora's memories, so in the long term Adora only realizes the Horde is as evil as Shadow Weaver wants her to. Any premature realization can be wiped away, and there will be no one around who will be willing to tell Adora she's remembering things wrong, keeping Adora happily in Shadow Weaver's service. But what are Shadow Weaver's plans then? Well, that's another video, isn't it? If there's one thing for sure about Shadow Weaver though, it's that her loyalty is to herself, first and foremost. If you think that she has Hordak and Adora's best interests at heart, I implore you to think again. What do you think about Shadow Weaver and Adora? Could she have kept Adora loyal if the Sword of Protection hadn't intervened? How would the attack on Thaymor have gone down? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more cartoon videos.